Hey guys, Colton here with Here Before Here Now. Welcome you to the new year, 2026. The first podcast of this year is something that I think is very interesting and very cool. I saw this article in the Indie Country today talking about this immersion school. It's called the Salish School of Spokane, and what they're doing there is trying to revitalize and rejuvenate a language that very few people spoke up until just a little bit ago. But now they're seeing some huge uh, leaps and bounds with younger students really learning this language, becoming fluent speakers, creating teachers, and it's just incredible. So I can't wait to bring in these guests here. So Chris and LaRae, thank you so much for being here on Here Before Here Now. If you could both introduce yourselves to us, please, who you guys are and what you guys are doing with this school.
Why, inchai squeeztinisitad can hatus kos katten soch chinsen mayaten talikin lint kuala panat solhalt. I'm LaRae Wiley, and I'm the former executive director of Salish School of Spokane, and I'm really glad to be here with you today, Colton.
Oh my gosh. Well, LaRae, that was beautiful the way you spoke there, and I'm so amazed that you're able to put this school forward. I was reading about how this all happened, but before we get all to that, Chris, can you introduce yourself to us, please?
Why? In Jaku umsal aten och kin chatuskos kat en sochin se maiten och ni sitat hi in noch in ilmichum equal in cheat equal sin maiten. I'm Chris Park and I'm the principal and business and grants manager at Sales School of Spokane, grant writer, language teacher, toilet plunger, and I'm
Do
very
it
pleased to
all.
be here with LaRae Wiley, my wife of 41 years and my boss at home and school.
Right?
It's a
That's
good
how it
life.
works. That's how it works, right? I have a wife too, and anything she says goes. So,
Right on.
okay, so this is really incredible, LaRae. So I saw that you really felt that there was a need to reconnect with your indigenous language, and you went through a lot at such a later time in life to become a fluent speaker, so much so that you were able to teach it to the next generation of indigenous people who speak this language. Can you tell me what this language is, and also your personal journey into creating this?
Yeah. Well, my language is the Colville Okanagan language. It's an interior Salish language in Washington State. And it's a critically endangered language, which means that there are very few speakers of it. So we have about two speakers left of our language in Washington State,
Fluent
the
elders.
fluent elders
Mm.
who grew up with the language. And then in Canada, we're lucky because our traditional territory goes across the line there, and we have 25 people who grew up with the language and are fluent speakers in Canada and British Columbia. So I just felt that I needed to learn my language. I'd never heard it growing up, and I'd always felt kind of disconnected from my language and culture. I grew up off the res. And so I decided at my great uncle's funeral, someone stood up and said, "This is the last fluent speaker. Did you know that this was a man who spoke Salish?" And I realized he was the last fluent speaker in my family, but I didn't even know that he spoke our language, even though I'd spent summers with him. So it was very shocking to find that out. And then also it lit a spark in me, in my heart, that I wanted to learn the language and teach it to others. I had previously been a teacher in Chewelah School District in Washington, in Northeast Washington. And so I just felt a calling to learn my language and pass it on to others and restore that language to my family.
And you're one of those prime examples of it's never too late to learn a language, right? Because I read that you were in your late 30s when you decided to really fully immerse yourself in this.
Yes, yes. And that's the thing I always tell people, if I can do it, you can do it. I was an older learner. I think I had a lot of our kids had gone to college. And so I think I had a lot of time and energy and passion to devote to this project.
So, were there a lot of resources available for you to learn this language, especially since it was a critically endangered language? How did you come to find like the books, the audio? Did you do like personal interviews? How was that process like for you?
It was a challenging process because we didn't have, books or audios and things to learn from, and the language is not supported financially through the state or the US government just does 6 immersion school grants a year. And so doing this, I had tons of support from my husband, Chris, and we sold our house when our kids went to college and we moved up with an elder in British Columbia, Sarah Peterson. And really, we just lived off the proceeds of our house while we were doing this work.
And a little bit of credit cards.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. So that we could build, like we were talking about, we could build audio recordings of our elder and then create a curriculum based on those recordings.
Our
Wow.
elder Sam Pizza was just a true organic genius. She offered us her trust, had us come and live with her family. We were what you called undocumented people in Canada for a couple of years.
Mm.
Our kids were at college, so we did an empty nester freak out and went across the line, lived with an elder, and that was the beginning of our fluency journey. I literally had never heard a word of LaRay's language till I was 40 years old, and I'm now an advanced fluent speaker. We have 5 grandchildren. We only speak to them in Insach Chin until they do their coming of age ceremonies. So
Wow, that's
4 out of the
incredible.
5, we only speak to them still in Insach Chin.
Mm-hmm.
At the initial onset of, hey, we're going to do this, selling the house, moving to Canada, living there undocumented, living off of credit cards, was there a moment or many moments where you're like, oh, why are we doing this? Oh my gosh, this is a lot to take on. Are we being crazy?
Well, yeah, there were those moments. There were those moments, but I think underneath it all, I really had just a faith that we could make this happen because Chris had been a Spanish teacher. And so he knew how languages worked and that people learn languages all over the world. And so I brought him into this project early on so that we could leave a trail for other people to learn as well. And it was, I mean, I know my family was thinking, but we were nuts.
Yeah.
So
I mean, give up everything. Yeah.
Dude, it was amazing. We were in a very remote spot in southern British Columbia in the Smilkameen Valley. Even the road into Sam Titsa's place was just a rutted shale goat trail, essentially. You could either go 2 miles an hour or 60, to stay on top of the rocks. And but it was just absolutely stunning, beautiful country. We were taken in by this elder, given her trust, and she was just the hardest working person ever, and we just had to measure up to her. And it really was a very dynamic process where Sam Titsa and LaRae would be out at the fire tanning hides. They'd go out and collect medicine, but Sam Titsa would also meet with me every day and record words, phrases, all this stuff, and it was my job to transcribe it, sequence it, and actually build a modern language curriculum from those audio recordings of elders. So we've developed what we now call our Indigenous language fluency transfer system. So all that systematic work we did, 10,000 hours working with Sam Titsa to record and make it sequence so a learner could acquire it and learn it. That's how we got fluent.
Mhm.
That's how our son and daughter-in-law and son-in-law have all become advanced fluent speakers. And that's why our 5 grandchildren are all fluent speakers, is this fluency transfer system. And that's now something, that framework, we're able to give it away to other Indigenous language communities. So more than 30 critically endangered Indigenous communities across North America and Australia have now adopted our fluency transfer system that was a product of that work and experience living with Sam Titsa.
Well, this sounds like number one, a huge undertaking, and number two, something that should be very celebrated. Have you spoken with tribal officials with this language, who use this language, and I mean, what are their thoughts about all this, and how you've come to create this portal and also this language nest school?
Yeah, I think the Colville tribe my tribe has been very supportive of our work. They actually have given us grants throughout the years to keep the school going. And I think that a lot of folks use our materials in the different schools on the reservation and different programming and Head Start and different things. So it's really gratifying that our work is being used and is getting out there.
The word from Sam Titsa from the get-go was, everything we do, we're going to share. She just said, I want anyone who wants to learn. We don't need to lock this up and keep it away from anybody. So all of those recordings with Sam Titsa, all the material that we made to become fluent is on our website, ilfts.org. It's available for anyone to use. So it's being used across the Columbian Plateau in British Columbia, Washington, Montana. And it's spread out to our neighboring sister languages as well. So Spokane Salish and Kalispell Salish have joined Colville Salish using this system. And we're actually creating lots of new advanced fluent speakers, which is pretty unheard of for a critically endangered language. So we have among our 4 Southern Interior Salish languages, we have fewer than 50 surviving fluent elders. But combined, we've created about 75 new advanced fluent young people, if you can call LaRae and I young, but yeah. So, and we've got a bunch of kids in our school who are growing up as first language speakers of the language again. And, it's like we teach algebra in the language at our school.
Wow.
Kids learn to read and write it. They're on their drums. They're out tending our traditional foods and medicines. It's just, so it's been nuts. It's been amazing. It's been, I'll tell you, when I was a high school Spanish teacher, I loved it. I was a great success, loved teenagers. But even on my best day, I kind of had my eye on the clock. Is it 3 o'clock yet?
Sure.
Doing this work, I look up, it's like,
it's already 3 o'clock. Oh man.
How is it midnight?
Yeah, we're still going.
It's just so amazing. And it's work that everything you do can make a difference, right?
So Chris, with your background in being a Spanish teacher, speaker as well, what are the differences in like the difficulties in learning Spanish versus this Salish dialect?
Well, I was kind of proud to be bilingual. I'd done bilingual education. I taught social studies in Spanish in Central Washington here, where there's a large Latino population. But when I heard her language, I was like, wah, wah. I just speak 2 dialects of the same language. English and Spanish are so close. I heard her language. I remember one of the first phrases they said, and I was like, what? I couldn't even hear it. And I was like, oh, now I'm going to learn a different language. It's been amazing, interesting.
Is it one of the hardest languages to learn?
It definitely has unique sounds.
Yeah. Could you explain some of those sounds? It sounds very like.
Yeah, we have a sound, and that's the E sound.
Coming out of the side of your cheek.
Yeah, and then we have the, which is from the very way back in your throat.
We jokingly call that the choking sound.
Oh, okay. Nice. Okay.
So like that word I was saying, chalk slip, just means ground meat, right? But it's like, wow, that's like, your brain definitely has to create some new neural connections to find those phonemes. But like I said, I hadn't heard a word when I was 40 years old, and I've become a very advanced fluent speaker. So
wow. Well,
this systematic approach and these amazing Salish women have made it all possible.
I'm definitely impressed with the way you're able to both grasp this and continue to help it flourish. From my background, my family's all from the Navajo Nation, so there's all these, for several years, decades even, books in Navajo. The Bible's been translated in Navajo. There's all this and that, like audios and all that things. I could just imagine, like, how difficult it was for you to be the ones who created this for your language. A huge undertaking. Now that you have people having access to it all over the place, how does it make you feel personally that you were like the person to help do that?
Well, I feel very honored and grateful that I was able to learn my language, and especially from a fluent elder, Sarah. She was amazing, and she became my mentor, but also like a grandmother to me. And I learned so much, and I feel really grateful. And I really purposefully wanted us not just to become fluent, but to create a path forward for people who wanted to learn, because I grew up off the reservation. I lived in an urban center in Spokane, so I knew how hard it was to reconnect with your language and culture. And so I really wanted us to have a system that could help just regular folks learn the language. You don't have to be a linguist. You don't have to, do anything. You just go through this curriculum, and at the end you become fluent.
So I know that
I feel really happy about that.
You have a school now, the Salish School of Spokane. Currently, it is kindergarten or pre-K through, I think it was 8th grade, correct? But you have plans to do a high school.
Yeah. So we have 1-year-old to 13 years old right now, and then we're planning to expand into high school and follow those students up the grades.
So we're in a little daycare facility, but we're just jammed in there. With critically endangered languages, it doesn't work if you just teach kids, right?
Mm-hmm.
What we need is intergenerational use and transmission of language. So we're serving 50 children, 1 year old up to 8th grade. We'll expand to 9th grade in September. But we actually have a very large adult program. We have 33 adults in our Salish language educator development program, and we have more than 40 adults in our evening program. So we teach 5 sections of Salish in the evenings. We operate 7:30 a.m. to 7:30 p.m. Monday through Thursday, breakfast, snack, lunch, snack, dinner, because we have to have adults learn along with the kids. If we just direct the language at the kids, every research case and every case study around the earth says that doesn't cut it for a critically endangered language. We need adult speakers. So 23 of the kids of our 50 kids, they have parents enrolled in our intensive language teacher training program. So those parents are becoming very advanced fluent speakers fairly rapidly. The kids are in full immersion. And that's where we're getting language use in the home and in the community. And that's the key for critically endangered languages.
Wow. Oh my gosh. And I also.
So we're jammed. We're absolutely use up every square inch. If we want to have a private meeting, we go out to our car. We ran home to our own house. We live fairly close to school because there's no place to have a quiet meeting at the school. We're just jammed in there. So we found some amazing donors. Catholic Charities of Eastern Washington has donated a little better than 2.5 acres along a 30-acre forest next to the Spokane River. And other funders and donors are helping us raise the money. And we're building a $17 million new campus for Salish School of Spokane. It'll have an education building with 8 classrooms, offices, an actual conference room where you can have a podcast interview. And then we're also next to that building a cultural and recreational community center with a gym, a commercial kitchen, and cultural arts spaces, outdoor cultural spaces for drying meat, tan and hide, sweat lodges.
Canoes.
Yeah, carving our canoes. And so we're going to break ground in March. We still have $3 million to go on this $17 million deal. But the whole thing's been an act of faith from the very moment, moving across the line to Samtitsa. So we're holding the faith, telling the story, and hopefully we're going to find that last $3 million. And in September of 2027, our kids and families, all those who've made that commitment to language culture, are going to have the facility that they deserve.
Wow. Well, I'm sure that 3 million will come, and hopefully pretty quickly. Last question, guys. Can you teach me how to say, "Hi, my name is Colton" in your language?
Oh yeah.
Okay.
So how we say hello is white,
White.
and it sounds like why with a little at the end. White.
And that's both hello and goodbye. It's kind of like aloha. Both hello and goodbye.
White.
All right. And then E squeezed is my name is. It kind of follows the English pattern. E is my, squeezed is name. So E squeezed Chris. Sweeta squeezed.
E squeezed LaRae.
Sweeta squeezed.
Okay, let me try it. E squeezed Colton.
Yeah,
Boom.
nailed it. That's
so awesome. I could say, why E squeezed Chris? Sweeta squeezed. You can say, why E squeezed Colton?
Why E squeezed Colton?
Oh, that was perfect.
Oh my gosh.
Excellent.
That's amazing, guys. Well, I want to say thank you so much. I was looking at the website and I saw a whole bunch of little kids on your the videos speaking this language, and a true testament of resilience and just reclamation of identity of Native culture. And it's amazing to see what you guys have been able to do. So thank you for helping to spread the awareness of what you guys plan and what you continue to do with, the language. It's amazing.
Thank you so much, Colton. It was wonderful to be here. Leem lumped. That's thank you. Leem lumped.
Leem lumped.
Yeah, got it.
Leem lumped. All right.
Leem lumped.
Well, thank you both. That is the latest episode of Here Before Here Now. I can't wait to see how the school the Salish School of Spokane continues to grow. Until next time, everyone, thanks so much for being here.